God himself will be with them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be any mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. And he who sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. Jesus upon his everlasting throne says, Behold, I make all things new. Behold, he has made it new. No more suffering, no more pain, no more wasting away, no more weakness, no more frustration, no more anger and pain, no more sadness, stillness. Behold, our brother is made new through the mercy of God. And I am sad, but I am glad. I am heartbroken, but I am relieved. We still, though, have tears to be wiped away. There is still mourning. There is still crying. There is still pain here in this mortal life. But thanks be to God, our brother has run his race, and he has done so well. So well done, good and faithful servant. Enter now into the rest prepared for you by our Father, and be made new. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thine hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. And while that song is so very true, it doesn't necessarily make a day like this feel much better. But God's faithfulness is great. His steadfast love will never cease. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. New mercies, new blessings, and his faithfulness is so great that it cannot be counted, it cannot be measured, and it is that great faithfulness who has received our friend, and behold, he is made new. For those of us left behind with memories, left behind with songs, left behind, but yet not without hope, and not without assurance. For he who has made Dick new will make new his good creation, and all of those who have put their trust in him. And he who himself is the way and the truth and the life. This mortal life of mourning, of pain, of tears and suffering is not the end, but we too shall be made new. In his mercy, through his love, with his glory forever and ever and ever. During the season of Lent, we in the parish are together praying elements of the daily office. That is, those prayers that occur during certain times of the day, so that your entire day might be shaped by the praise of God. So in the morning we say certain things, at noontime, in the afternoon, or as we close our eyes in bed. Today's prayer from morning prayer that we were to say together as a parish, the prayer for mission for Fridays, it goes like this. Almighty God, his most dear Son, went not up to joy, but first he suffered pain, and entered not into glory before he was crucified. mercifully grant that we, walking in the way of the cross, may find it none other than the way of life and peace. Through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord. And Dick knew a thing or two about suffering pain before receiving joy. That Jesus himself suffered within his mortal life and understands our pain, understands our difficulty, our hardship, our weaknesses, our hungers, and our hurts. And Jesus himself, through his cross, death, and resurrection, seeks to draw us back to him, body, mind, and spirit, now and forever. That assurance, while true, may feel far away on a night like this. On a night where we can remember how hard those last few years were for Dick and for the family and for we his friends. And yet, a little bit like today, a little bit like the mixed emotions and conflicted feelings between the hope and assurance of promises that I know are true and that Dick himself staked his life on. And yet that hole in a heart, a missing seat in a pew, a family in sadness. That there is a juxtaposition here where we can see that happiness and joy are not precisely the same things. Blessedly, they tend to overlap, but happiness and joy are distinct and different. That we can receive joy knowing that no matter the struggles in this life, a cold, dark grave is not the end. A joy that says, through ups and downs, through hardships and triumphs, through our own suffering or watching those whom we love suffer and waste away and die, that the grave is not the end. But in our Father's house there are many rooms, and he has prepared a place for us to go. In Dick, I saw that same distinction between happiness and joy. Knowing Dick only for the last 5 years, I missed the Dick that some of you might have known. I knew this Dick. I knew the Dick who we used to call Eeyore. Thanks for noticing. Now, Father David. And yet, even before the last few years, as his body began to fail, something within him, it was still so strong, and still so bright, and still so clear. And though you might have looked at Dick and seen, you might have listened to Dick and heard this. Hard to describe these last few years as happy. And yet through the mercy of Christ, there was, remains, and ever shall be joy. A strong thing. A hard thing. Stronger than steel, heavier than concrete. Bigger and greater than a body that wastes away. Even when he was down, there was a trust and there was an assurance. It was never dictated by his emotions or his physical state. There's your difference. Happiness comes and goes. How are you feeling? How are things going? If you're the person who says, oh, it's fine, I know it's great, maybe you're happy, maybe you're not. But in this life, most of us struggle. Most of us face hard times and sadness. Most of us feel pain not only within our bodies, but as we watch those whom we love struggle in pain, we feel it as well. Christ himself, who doesn't go to joy first, but suffers pain, who doesn't rise in glory first, but must be crucified before that. Dick, even when he was a bit of a downer, understood, received, and held on to this joy. And I am so grateful for it. So grateful for the witness of a life that wouldn't even let unhappiness break the joy of the Lord. Here at St. Stephen's, things will be very different. Dick has been physically with us for some time, and even when he was, it was sporadic. His health just wouldn't allow it. And yet his presence was never far from us, either through his family or through all the lives that he touched. A lot of things go on here. It's a busy, busy place. Often kind of frustrated that I'm the only clergy here. Why can't I be like some of these other churches with a staff, and give me some other priests or some deacons, or all those other churches seem to have somebody, and it's just me, and I feel like I'm kind of chasing my tail sometimes. We now have someone going through the diaconal program and an intern as well, but we're kind of waiting for that to still happen. And as I was thinking about that, I realized how foolish and how short-sighted I had been. Alone. Surely mission and ministry happen through the lives of all the people who come here. This is an active church. Many people offering much for the honor of God, the blessing of those in need. But as I thought about it, especially in relation to today, I came to the realization, perhaps a little on the late side, I had a deacon for years. The servant ministry of the church, to reach out especially to the poor, the widows, the orphans, to do the work behind the scenes, taking the church out into the world and the world back into the church, and offering through humility, care, and love, and humble service, like Jesus, who would wash the feet of his friends. And Dick never wore a collar. Pretty sure no bishop ever laid hands upon him and proclaimed him thus. Well, that's their loss. For in truth, the work of the deacon had been done by Dick for years, and most of you, if you think about it, know it.
Amen.
The guy who would bring food. The guy who would give money, even when he had none. The guy who would sneak into hospitals late at night, dodging security for one more hospital visit. The guy who would be the first to come shake your hand as a visitor to church, and the last to give you a hug before he would let you leave. If that is not servant ministry for the sake of Christ, then no collar can do any more. And I am grateful and I am thankful. Grateful that there was a joy within him even when his body failed. Grateful that there has been a ministry that so many of us have benefited from and that may continue onward. Grateful that I had a friend, someone I could talk to, someone who prayed for me, even when he could do nothing else, laying in a hospital bed, taking the sick list with him so that he could pray for others, even when he was so tired and frustrated he couldn't pray for himself. So like Dick, I'm not real happy today. I am joyful. It is something bigger and greater and deeper than either my emotions or my circumstances. My emotions and my circumstances today point to loss and to sadness. But my heart and my spirit point to Jesus. And in Him, I know this is not the end. In Him, I am grateful for this good man, for this good friend. And in Him, I know that through His resurrection, Dick is made new. And I'm grateful. And I'm thankful. I may not be happy, but I can thank Dick for reminding me that I might still be joyful and give thanks to a good God who blessed us with His good name. Amen.
Dick was one of the first people I met at St. Stephen's. After Lowell Justice, who wanted to make sure I was saved, Dick wanted to make sure that I was a person of prayer. David, I agree with everything you said, but I just want to tweak just a little. Legally, technically, we don't have elders in the Episcopal Church, but we did in this one. When we look at 1 Timothy 3, it talks about what an elder of the church is. I know some denominations ordain them, some don't ordain them. I don't care about that. Shepherd, pastor, prayer warrior, person valued for their wisdom, blameless as a steward, faithful husband, father of one wife, orderly, respectful, uncontentious, holy, devout, self-controlled. Sound familiar? Dick was one of those people that preachers love. Because you could look at Dick and in an instant tell whether your point was making any resolution at all, or if he would kind of cock his head a little bit and just kind of start shaking his head, and you knew that you needed to change course. I was honored to have him serve as a vestry person in this congregation and as a warden, but I was most honored to be his friend. There are not a lot of people who can be friends with clergy, especially clergy like me. But Dick had a way of coming up to me after a sermon as everyone was walking out of church, and he wouldn't say, "Nice pastor sermon," or "Nice sermon, pastor." He would say, "You need to think about that one a little before." Or he would say, "You gave us your head, but not your heart." Or he would say, "I think you need to have prayed a little more before you delivered that." But when I hit a home run, Dick was the first one to say, "Your boss is smiling." Dick was also the conscience of this congregation. he knew about things that even the grapevine didn't know about. And he would come to me and he'd say, you know, I really think you need to do X. And I'd say, oh, okay. He said, no, I mean right now. Always orderly, always respectful. But Dick had a gift that very few people have, and that is the ability to hold a clergy person accountable. I can remember Dick coming up to me and saying, I don't think you need any cookies today. And in his honor, I made oatmeal chocolate chip and spice cookies. So I hope you enjoy them and know that they were two of his favorites. As most of you know, I have two very heavily tattooed sons. I have one who thankfully didn't go that routine. And to my daughter, Peter, well, no, my new daughter also has tattoos. But as I was thinking about what to say tonight, I realized that while I am a person who dons no tattoos and never will, people have made imprints on my life. Profound imprints. And they have taught me much. Dick taught me how to be a prayer warrior. Dick taught me how to be a good and godly man. And Dick taught me that one of the greatest gifts that we can do is sharpen each other as iron sharpens iron. You're here because Dick sharpened you. And the real question that I want to leave each of us with is not only good thoughts and lots of good memories about this good and faithful man, but will we go from here with the same boldness, the same faith, the same convictions, and make a difference in the life of others as he did to us?